Okay, so first let's take a preliminary look into the mechanism and maybe find some clues to help us identify the type of clockwork we are working on. And as you can see, this is your regular, very common clock mechanism found in some grandfather clocks, for example. The machinery, which still seems to be working, is held by these two brass plates. And the brass gives it this nice golden hue. And as you can see over here, we have Chinese symbols and underneath an English text, chefoo, China 9503. So chefoo, China 9503. This already gives us plenty of information. So China is obviously the country, and chefoo is it's a place in China, also known as Yantai. Yantai is the old name for it. Chefoo name was given to it around the communist revolution. So chefoo as a name gives us a fairly good idea on the time this was built. But more importantly, we have the number 9503, which is the basically a serial number for this type of a mechanism. Yantai is based in Shandong province, and the Shandong is a harbor area, or more like chefoo is a harbor area in Shandong, and it's very close to the borders of North and South Korea. And chefoo as a place is known by a typical type of a clock. Chefoo clock movement as a term is telling us that this is most likely a 31-day winding clock machinery. And if we take a look at the machinery here, we see two gearboxes. These are the winding drums, and here are the spindles that you can screw with the clock key. These are maybe, I would say, 2.5 millimeter wide. They're magnetic. And let's see, what do we have here? This is pretty stiffly here. I'm not sure if it needs to be there. Is it part of the machinery or not? It seems like a pretty unorthodox place for it. And I have no clue on the damage this has gone through. It still seems working, but I don't know how many springs or gears we have lost over the years. I do have one spring that I found from underneath this clock, probably coming from somewhere in here. This mechanism works with an escape gear, and it lets this bang the bell of the clock. And as you can see, this part here, when it's opened, it makes this brace part here to make one rotation, and when it's able to do a rotation, it lets this part of the machine to ring the bell. Given the 9503 number of this mechanism, I would argue that it is built in the 70s. And this particular item being like this, not in use for at least 20 years, I find it pretty inspiring that the innards are still actually working. You can see the big wheels go into the secondary and tertiary gear systems, creating a possibility for different ratios giving you the possibility to ring the bell every hour and give this distinctive half-hour warning chime. And as well as being able to run for a month without winding. But this particular item is thoroughly in need of winding. You can see the loose metal sheet here inside the brass gears in the drum. Now I know this is also very nicely up and working, this ratchet array here. Now what seems to be missing, well, so far I haven't located a place for this spring. It's maybe, I don't know if this particular axis here needs a spring, or frankly what it is. It resonates quite a bit. I do need a clock winding key and in the right size to see if the winding mechanism is up and running and working properly. A little bit of counter movement, but it shouldn't break the system. It only lets you move in a counterclockwise motion from this angle, and there is a mechanism to stop the movement to the other side.